What a week. An epic winter storm just swept across the country, leaving a trail of frozen landscapes and disrupted lives in its wake. It unleashed a barrage of ice, snow, and record-shattering cold, stretching from the deep south all the way to the far reaches of New England. No region was spared, and the storm's reach was as impressive as it was devastating. Millions found themselves trapped by a relentless weather system that brought not just snow, but real danger. Roads became impassable, emergency services were stretched thin, and daily routines were upended overnight. States unaccustomed to such extremes like Mississippi and Louisiana woke up to a world encased in ice. Trees, homes, and power lines were glazed over, transforming familiar neighborhoods into frozen alien landscapes. The storm lingered for days, dumping snow and plunging temperatures to dangerous lows, grinding daily life to a halt. Even the most prepared cities struggled to keep up as snowplows worked around the clock. Families huddled together for warmth as the power flickered out, and the cold crept into every corner of their homes. For many, the darkness and silence were as unsettling as the chill itself. For many, simple comforts, heat, light, a hot meal, became rare luxuries. Makeshift stoves and layers of blankets became lifelines as people adapted to the new reality. Parents worried about keeping kids warm and food supplies lasting as roads froze over and grocery store shelves emptied. The uncertainty weighed heavily on families, especially those with young children or elderly relatives. Cities and towns, big and small, were equally battered. Streets once bustling with life were deserted, businesses shuttered, and communities eerily quiet beneath a thick blanket of snow. This was more than a weather event. It was a test of resilience and survival. Neighbors checked on each other, and emergency workers braved the elements to help those in need. The storm exposed our vulnerabilities but also revealed our strength. Communities came together, sharing supplies, warmth, and hope in the face of adversity. Across the nation, people faced the same struggle, isolated in their own homes, yet united by adversity. The shared experience forged new bonds and reminded us of our collective resilience. The haunting images of ghostly, snowbound cities and highways will linger long after the snow melts, a stark reminder of nature's power and unpredictability. This was a winter wallop that won't soon be forgotten, a chapter in our history marked by hardship, but also by courage and compassion. It's a story not just of hardship, but of how we endure, adapt, and come together when it matters most. The storm's harshest toll was measured in lives lost, at least 35 people across 14 states. Each of these lives represents a story, a family, and a community forever changed by the unforgiving cold. The numbers alone cannot capture the heartbreak and the ripple effect of loss that spread through neighborhoods and towns. Each number is a family grieving, a life cut short by cold or storm-related accidents. Behind every statistic is a loved one lost, a parent, a child, a friend, leaving behind memories and empty places at the table. The pain of sudden loss is magnified by the harshness of winter, when gathering to mourn is made even more difficult by the weather. In New York City, 10 deaths are under investigation, while in Pennsylvania, 3 people died just trying to clear snow. The simple act of shoveling a driveway or sidewalk became a deadly risk, as exhaustion and exposure set in quickly. Emergency crews worked tirelessly, but sometimes help arrived too late. Louisiana saw fatalities from both hypothermia and carbon monoxide poisoning. Tragic reminders of the hidden dangers in desperate times. When power failed, many turned to alternative heat sources, unaware of the silent threat of toxic fumes. The cold forced people to make impossible choices, sometimes with fatal consequences. Even a sledding accident in Texas turned deadly. What began as a moment of winter fun ended in tragedy, showing how quickly circumstances can change when weather turns severe. Fatalities spanned Kentucky, New Jersey, Massachusetts, South Carolina, Arkansas, and Mississippi, each region facing unique challenges. Some struggled with power outages, others with impassable roads or overwhelmed emergency services. The storm's reach was vast, touching communities large and small. The cold was relentless, and for some, it proved insurmountable. For the elderly, the homeless, and those living alone, the storm's isolation was as dangerous as the temperature itself. Many faced the bitter night without heat, light, or help. These losses underscore the need to check on neighbors, especially the vulnerable. A simple knock on the door or a phone call can mean the difference between life and death during extreme weather. Community support becomes a lifeline when the world outside turns hostile. Silent threats, like hypothermia or unsafe heating, can be as deadly as icy roads. The dangers aren't always obvious, and sometimes the greatest risks are hidden inside our own homes. Staying informed and prepared is crucial. As communities recover, the memory of those lost is a solemn reminder to be prepared and connected. Vigils and memorials bring people together to grieve, but also to strengthen the bonds that help us survive future storms. The storm's grief lingers, urging us to look out for one another. In the aftermath, acts of kindness and solidarity shine through the darkness, offering hope and healing. Let's honor their memory by staying vigilant and caring for our communities. Because together we are stronger, and together we can weather any storm. The storm's destruction wasn't limited to roads and power lines. Its reach extended into the very structures people rely on for shelter and safety. Buildings across the region buckled under the relentless weight of ice and snow, their roofs sagging and walls straining as the storm pressed on. In Greenville, Mississippi, 2 gas station canopies gave way in quick succession, sending metal and debris crashing down and injuring 11 people in terrifying moments that left the community shaken. These incidents highlight a hidden danger, how the silent, accumulating stress of snow and ice can turn everyday structures into hazards, often with little warning. Homeowners and businesses were caught off guard, as roofs, awnings, and even porches gave way, sometimes in the middle of the night, leaving families scrambling for safety. The rapid accumulation made it nearly impossible to keep up, as snow piled up faster than it could be cleared, overwhelming even the most prepared. Twisted metal, shattered beams, and piles of debris became stark symbols of nature's power, a reminder of how quickly the familiar can be transformed by extreme weather. For those injured, the road to recovery will be long and difficult, with physical wounds compounded by the emotional toll of losing homes or businesses in an instant. These events serve as a sobering reminder to stay alert for structural risks after major storms, and to have buildings inspected for hidden damage before returning. Clearing heavy snow safely can prevent disaster, but it's a dangerous task that often requires teamwork and caution to avoid further injuries. The storm's legacy includes not just damaged buildings, but the resilience and solidarity of those who survived, neighbors helping neighbors, and communities coming together to rebuild. In a week full of challenges, the struggle to recover from these collapses adds another layer of hardship, but also reveals the strength and determination of those affected. For hundreds of thousands, the storm's most immediate threat was the loss of power. Ice-laden trees and power lines snapped, plunging neighborhoods into darkness and cold. In Mississippi alone, over 130,000 lost electricity at the peak. No heat, no light, no hot meals, just a desperate fight to stay warm. As Arctic air settled in, over 175 million people faced cold weather alerts. Freezing temperatures lingered, making recovery slow and dangerous. Families layered up, sealed off rooms, and waited in the cold, hoping for relief. Utility crews battled icy roads and downed lines, but progress was slow. Every hour without power felt like an eternity. The cold inside matched the chill outside, turning homes into frigid traps. This crisis exposed our dependence on a fragile grid, and the need for better preparedness. The storm's impact was felt in every shivering household. The storm paralyzed travel nationwide, air, water, and ground. Over 1,700 flights were canceled, thousands more delayed, and major airline hubs ground to a halt. NYC's ferries stopped as rivers froze, even trapping an NYPD boat in the ice. The Coast Guard had to break vessels free, while public transit in cities like DC and New Jersey was severely limited. Essential workers faced grueling journeys, and entire communities were cut off. The ripple effect was massive. Businesses stalled, families separated, plans upended. The economic and personal costs were immense. The storm revealed just how interconnected and vulnerable our transportation systems are. One storm, and the nation's network ground to a halt. In the Northeast, snow was the headline, especially in Boston, which saw a historic 23.2 inches. It was the city's 8th biggest snowstorm ever, transforming Boston into a silent, snowbound landscape. Streets vanished under towering drifts, and iconic landmarks disappeared beneath a thick white blanket. A blizzard emergency shut the city down as residents dug out from mountains of snow. Clearing paths became a daily struggle, with snow piled high on every corner. The city's response was massive, but cleanup took days. The beauty of the snow was undeniable, but so was the hardship. For Bostonians, this storm was a true test of winter resilience. It's a memory that will linger long after the last snowbank melts. Schools and universities across the country closed as the storm made travel and power unreliable. In Dallas, over 100,000 students stayed home, while Ole Miss shut down its campus for the week. College students faced isolation and outages, while K-12 families scrambled for childcare. In the Northeast, heavy snow kept schools closed for days, extending winter breaks and complicating parents' lives. Remote learning was tough with widespread outages. The closures disrupted routines and learning, highlighting the storm's reach. Empty classrooms became a symbol of life on pause. The storm's impact on education was felt in every silent hallway. As recovery begins, forecasters warn of another winter storm brewing for the East Coast. This next system could rapidly intensify, a bomb cyclone, bringing more heavy snow and damaging winds. For communities still digging out, the news is daunting. Power crews are stretched thin and supplies are running low. The new storm could hit areas spared by the last one, so everyone needs to stay alert. Now's the time to restock supplies, check generators, and make a plan. Winter isn't over. Preparation is key. We can't stop the storm, but we can be ready. Despite the hardship, the storm revealed the best in people. Neighbors cleared sidewalks, offered rides, and shared resources. Communities came together, turning isolation into unity. Acts of kindness, warm meals, safe shelter, a helping hand made all the difference. The thaw brings hope, but the lessons remain. We've seen our vulnerabilities, but also our strength. Let's carry forward the spirit of compassion and preparedness. The snow will melt, but the unity we found should endure. This storm tested us, but it also brought us together. Stay safe and remember, we're strongest when we face challenges together.